The New York Giants just made every single team in the NFC East uncomfortable. Not because of one signing, not because of one draft pick, because they went out and hired the one coach nobody thought would be available. And now the entire direction of this franchise has changed overnight. John Harbaugh walked into that building in East Rutherford with 180 regular season wins, a Super Bowl ring, 12 playoff appearances in 18 seasons, and 6 division titles on his resume. That is not a coordinator getting his first shot. That is not a guy learning on the job. This is a man who has been in the fire, won in the fire, and told the media at his very first press conference that the expectation is not to go out and compete. The expectation is to win every single game. Since Tom Coughlin left after the 2015 season, the Giants have gone through 5 head coaches, and none of them could get this franchise back to where it belongs. Harbaugh is not here to rebuild slowly. He is here to flip this thing now. And the way this offseason has gone, he might actually have the pieces to do it. Think about what this roster looks like right now, compared to where it was just 3 months ago. On defense, you have Dexter Lawrence wrecking the interior, Brian Burns coming off a 16.5 sack season that ranked second in the entire NFL, and Abdul Carter ready to be unleashed as a true edge rusher for the first time in his career. On the other side of the ball, you have a young quarterback in Jackson Dart who threw 15 touchdowns and ran for 9 more in just 12 starts as a rookie. And Harbaugh himself said he is not sure there is anything Dart cannot do. The front office went out and signed 16 players in free agency on mid-level spending, brought in Isaiah, likely to be a weapon over the middle, added Tremaine Edmonds to anchor the linebacker core, signed Darnell Mooney as a deep threat, locked up Jermaine Illuminor to protect the blind side, and brought over Patrick Ricard to establish a power run game that this team has not had in years. And on top of all of that, the Giants are sitting at number 5 in the draft with the chance to add a game-changing talent like Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love. This is not a team just adding pieces. This is a team building something with a clear identity for the first time in over a decade. But here's the part that makes all of this so dangerous. Harbaugh is not running someone else's system. He told the media at the owners' meetings that this offense will be built around Jackson Dart and what he does best. Not a Matt Nagy offense. Not a carryover from Baltimore. A New York Giants offense designed to fit around the quarterback and the players on this roster. He has done this before. He built a Super Bowl winner around Joe Flacco and a completely different kind of offense around Lamar Jackson, who won 2 MVPs under his coaching. 2 totally different styles of play, 2 totally different quarterbacks. And Harbaugh made both of them work at the highest level. Now he has a young, dual-threat quarterback, a defensive front that can take over games, and a locker room full of players he handpicked to fit his culture. The foundation is set. But there is one player who is going to determine whether this whole thing takes off or falls short, and that is the quarterback standing in the middle of it all. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Giants and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 500 likes on this video. Everything the New York Giants are building right now lives and dies with one player. Jackson Dart walked into the NFL last season and showed flashes that most young quarterbacks do not show until year 2 or 3. In 12 starts, he threw for 15 touchdowns against just 5 interceptions, rushed for 487 yards, and added 9 rushing touchdowns. He became only the 4th player since 2000 to throw for over 1,800 yards and rush for 400 in his first 9 career starts. Those numbers tell you one thing clearly. The arm talent is real, the legs are real, and the competitive fire is obvious to anyone who watched him play. But here is what separates his situation from most young quarterbacks in this league. He now has a head coach who has developed 2 completely different franchise quarterbacks at the highest level, and that changes everything about his ceiling. The biggest thing Dart needs to fix is not his arm or his football IQ. It is his body. He was checked for head injuries multiple times during his first season, because he refuses to slide or run out of bounds. He takes contact like a running back and tries to punish defenders instead of protecting himself. John Harbaugh coached Lamar Jackson out of that exact same habit early in his career. He drilled it into Jackson every single day in practice, in meetings, even walking through the hallways of the facility. Slide down, get out of bounds, live to see the next play. Dart needs that same discipline, and now he has the one coach in the league with the best track record of teaching it. The deep accuracy also needs to sharpen. There were too many missed connections downfield, especially when Malik Neighbors was fully healthy before tearing his ACL against the Chargers. If Dart can clean up the deep ball and protect himself in the open field, the rest of the NFC East has a serious problem on its hands. And the weapons around him just got a massive upgrade. What John Harbaugh pulled off in free agency was not just smart. It was calculated in a way this franchise has not operated in years. 16 players signed on mid-level spending. He said it himself on the Pardon My Take podcast. The Ravens spent about the same amount and signed 8 guys. The Giants doubled that number because they targeted motivated players who wanted to be here for the right reasons and who fit a specific style of play. This was not a spending spree. This was a roster construction built around identity, and every single move pointed in the same direction. Physical, tough, disciplined football. Isaiah Likely came over from Baltimore on a 3-year, $40 million deal and gives Jackson Dart something he did not have last season. A 6'4" target who can stretch the seam, create mismatches against linebackers, and make plays. After the catch with 30 missed tackles, forced in his NFL career. Tremaine Edmonds was released by Chicago and immediately got a call from Harbaugh. 3 years, $36 million. With 8 straight seasons of 100-plus tackles and 14 career interceptions. He replaces Bobby Okereke and instantly becomes the quarterback of this defense. Darnell Mooney reunites with Matt Nagy and brings proven deep speed after posting 992 receiving yards in 2024 with Atlanta. Calvin Austin III adds another vertical threat from Pittsburgh on a team-friendly deal. Patrick Ricard, the highest-paid fullback in the league, followed Harbaugh from Baltimore to establish the power run game. Jordan Stout, an all-pro punter, came over the same way. Jason Sanders was signed at kicker. Greg Newsome II adds veteran depth at cornerback. And the front office is not done. Harbaugh confirmed more signings are coming after the draft to protect compensatory pick eligibility for 2027. This team is being built layer by layer. The scariest part about this Giants defense is not what it did last season. It is what it is about to become with the right coaching. Dennard Wilson takes over as defensive coordinator after spending 2 years in Tennessee, where his unit ranked second in total defense and second in passing defense. That is a massive leap from what this group had before. And the talent on this roster is already better than what Wilson had to work with in Tennessee. The previous scheme was the problem, not the players. Now that excuse is gone. Dexter Lawrence is one of the most disruptive interior defenders in the entire NFL. He demands double teams on nearly every snap. And that is what creates space for the edges to eat. Brian Burns took full advantage of that last season with 16.5 sacks, 31 quarterback hits, 22 tackles for loss, and 3 forced fumbles across 17 games. He earned second-team All-Pro honors and proved he is worth every dollar of that 5-year, $141 million contract. Opposite him, Abdul Carter finished with 4 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. But those numbers do not tell the full story. He was used as a slot corner and a quarterback spy for extended stretches under the old coaching staff. That will not happen under Wilson. Carter is going to have his hand in the dirt, rushing the passer, doing what he was drafted 3rd overall to do. Kayvon Thibodeau is still in the mix and needs a more consistent motor. But the upside remains. Micah McFadden re-signed on a prove-it deal after missing time with a foot injury. When you combine Lawrence, Burns, and Carter, with Edmonds cleaning up behind them, this front seven has the potential to be the most dominant unit in the division. And there is one more level of this defense that could change everything. This is where the conversation gets interesting, because the Giants' secondary is either a hidden strength or the one thing that holds this defense back. Deonte Banks is the name nobody wants to talk about, but he might be the most important player in the secondary right now. He was a first-round pick who had a strong start to his career under Wink Martindale playing man-to-man coverage. Then the scheme shifted to zone, and everything fell apart. That was not a talent issue. That was a coaching issue. With Dennard Wilson installing a new system and Harbaugh giving him a clean slate, Banks has a real chance to reemerge as a legitimate outside corner in this league. The ability is still there. He just needs to be put in a position to use it. Paulson Adebo provides a steady presence with 1 interception and 8 pass deflections last season. Greg Newsome II was signed on a 1-year, $8 million deal and adds competition at the position. Ardarius Washington came over from Baltimore on a low-risk deal after tearing his Achilles. But his 2024 film showed a player who could line up in the slot, at free safety, or in the box. Tyler Nubin and Jason Pinnock hold down the safety spots and give this unit a foundation that can grow. But here's where the draft could change everything for this secondary. If Caleb Downs from Ohio State is sitting there at number 5, Harbaugh knows exactly what to do with him. He drafted Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore and turned him into the most versatile safety in football. A player who could cover the slot, play single high, line up in the box, and match up against tight ends. Downs has that exact same profile, and pairing him with this defensive front could make the Giants' defense elite. The question is whether the front office goes that route or addresses another position entirely. Not every move this offseason has been met with excitement, and the hire of Matt Nagy as offensive coordinator is the one that carries the most question marks. When he was the head coach in Chicago calling his own plays, the results were not pretty. After a solid first year, where the Bears ranked 9th in points per game, the offense dropped to 29th, then 23rd, then 27th in the 3 seasons that followed. The development of Mitch Trubisky did not work. The development of Justin Fields did not work either. Both were young quarterbacks who needed structure and growth, and neither one got there under Nagy. That track record is hard to ignore when you are now handing him another young quarterback in Dart. But there is one key difference this time. Harbaugh made it clear. This will not be a Nagy offense. This will be a Giants offense built around Dart. And Harbaugh is the one setting the vision. The offensive line is the other area that still needs work. Andrew Thomas is one of the best left tackles in football, but has dealt with durability concerns. Jermaine Eliminor holds down the right tackle spot. John Michael Schmitz is at center. The right guard position is wide open, and Harbaugh admitted at the owners' meetings that the offensive line is still a work in progress. Names like Joel Bitonio, Kevin Zeitler, and Greg Van Roten remain available in free agency, and a signing could come after the draft. The biggest surprise of the offseason was bringing back Evan Neal and Josh Ezeudu on deals with no guaranteed money. Harbaugh revealed that he graded both players highly during their draft process and believes his coaching staff can unlock what previous staffs could not. It is a low-risk swing with high reward potential. But the honest truth is this offensive line still has holes. And how those holes get filled between now and September will determine how well Dart is protected in year 2. Darius Slayton is under contract at $12 million per year, but dropped 5 passes last season that would have gone for touchdowns. 5. All of them wide open. Darnell Mooney adds speed and the ability to stretch the field. Calvin Austin III gives you another vertical option, but this wide receiver room still needs more depth, and the draft could be the answer in the middle rounds. Where this offense could truly separate itself is with the tight end duo of Theo Johnson and Isaiah Likely. Johnson posted 528 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns last season, and Likely brings the ability to create mismatches from the slot or in line. Harbaugh ran two tight end formations extensively in Baltimore with Mark Andrews and Likely, and he can replicate that here. Those big bodies condense the field for Dart, reduce the risk of interceptions, and create easy completions in the red zone. 12 personnel could become the base of this offense. At running back, Cam Scatterbo is rehabbing from a dislocated ankle suffered against Philadelphia in Week 8, but says he will be ready for training camp. He is a physical, violent runner who sets the tone on every carry. Tyrone Tracy Jr. stepped up after the injury and finished with 740 rushing yards as the primary back. The addition of Patrick Ricard at fullback signals that Harbaugh wants a power run identity. And if they draft Jeremiah Love at number 5, that backfield becomes one of the most explosive duos in the entire NFL. But what happens on draft night is where this entire offseason comes together. The New York Giants hold the 5th overall pick, and what they do with it will define the direction of this franchise for the next 5 years. Harbaugh said at the owners' meetings that the free agency haul put them in a position where they do not have to chase needs. But he also admitted that needs will still be a factor. That tells you the board matters, but so does the fit. The top 3 candidates at number 5 are Caleb Downs, the versatile safety from Ohio State who could transform this defense overnight. Jeremiah Love, the explosive Notre Dame running back, who Harbaugh called a very, very good player with extra varies in front of it. And Sonny Styles, the Ohio State linebacker, who brings elite size and range to the second level. All 3 would fill real needs, and all 3 would be impact starters from day one. The second round, at pick 37, is where the defensive tackle position becomes a target. Kristen Miller from Georgia had a formal combine meeting and a top 30 visit with the Giants. He plays with a relentless motor at 6'4" and 321 pounds, and he fits the aggressive, physical identity that Harbaugh wants to build. Caleb Banks, Caden McDonald, Peter Woods, and Lee Hunter are other interior names to watch. Wide receiver could also be addressed in the middle rounds. Jordan Tyson from Arizona State had an extended conversation with Harbaugh and Joe Schoen at the ASU Pro Day. His film looks electric, but a lingering hamstring injury kept him off the field for nearly 4 months. Ted Hurst from Georgia State is another top 30 visit who profiles as a physical outside target. The big picture is this. For the first time in over a decade, the Giants have a proven head coach, a young franchise quarterback, a defensive front that can dominate games, and a draft loaded with options to fill the remaining gaps. Harbaugh did not come to New York to rebuild. He came to win. And the way this offseason has been constructed, piece by piece, with purpose and identity behind every single move, this franchise is closer to contending than anyone outside the building wants to admit. The NFC East should be paying very close attention.